Welcome to readtheticker.com. Today we're going to talk about setting up Gann Angles refresher course. A quick look at how to do it quite quickly. Here we have Johnson & Johnson. It's a normal load chart. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to remove my grids because I like to work without grids. Second thing I'm going to do is I'm going to square up the axis of the chart by putting in equal numbers on the width and height. Third thing I'm going to do, I'm just going to give myself about 1,000 bars. Change the data format to high, low, close. That's just personal preference. Right, so what we have here is we have a square 850 by 850 in the actual physical chart and just a data load of about 1,000 bars. What we do is we run that. Okay, we haven't got a Gann chart yet. What we have is just a process. We're in the middle of the process. Now I want to go to my manual setup, go to chart scale, select manual. I will select a Gann 1x1 403. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to make that price a bit lower. If I make that say 50, make that 100. If I make the min max of the Y scale larger, it means I will get a higher x-axis count. So it jumped to 500. Right, so just rebuild that. Obviously that's going to be okay, so it's at the moment that is a square of 1 to 1. Look at where my cursor is. Time to price is a square of 1 to 1. It's a daily chart. If I wanted to go to calendar days, see what it looks like, you can do that. Okay. I'm going to go back to trading days, so we'll start with what we've got. Okay. Now I want to see more data because sure it is a square of 1 to 1, but I want to see more data to the left. So at the moment our design of our chart is, I'll show you, opening up the chart size calculator. This is designed for the Gann Angles squaring. I'll bring this over here. You'll see that I've got a perfect square. This is a visual impact of what the chart looks like, a square. So I want to see two squares side by side. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to create the width. I'm going to make it a nice 1,000. I'm going to create the height of 500. Right, so that means we've got width of 1,000, height of 500. It's a rectangle, but in a sense it's two squares. We're going to hit our Gann by one again. You see how it's dropped to 100? Just put another 0 in there. It's okay because we're working in multiples of 10. Make that 1,000. Right. So now we're talking. So here we've got a 1 by 10. Make the price adjustment times 10. It's multiples of 10, that's okay. Still works out to be 1 by 1, 1 by 10, 1 by 100, 1 by 1,000. Right, so here's our Gann angle chart of 1 by 1 daily. So what I want to do now, do I want to stay with trading days or calendar days? So I select my pivot points, prior impulse waves, and I have a bit of a fish around to see what the angles look like. As you can see, pretty much Johnson & Johnson's been running up very strong Gann angles. From two ways to use Gann angles, from pivots of support and resistance, like here's below, and here's at the top. Okay, so that's a let's call that a continuation Gann angle, where the price comes down to Gann angle and moves away. Price goes up to Gann angle and moves up or down depending on the breaking it. The other way to use Gann angles is actually take the pivot and go the inverse way. So for example, we're going to go long there, and you're seeing how the first two black lines are challenging at a breakout level. I take another Gann angle and I put it on the same pivot. Here it's going down. The the first two lines of, I think it's 1 to 8 and 1 to 12. That's the challenging area of a breakout zone. Okay, so what have we got here? We have a Gann angle from way back here. Yeah, so it's been hugging that. As you can see, the little green line there, it's pretty much be replicating price all the way up perfectly. Okay, so that's how you create a one-by-one Gann angle chart for Johnson & Johnson. I'm just going to check with my calendar days. The trading day looks pretty good. I'm just going to check with my calendar day. So that offers us a better fit to the Gann angles. So Gann created this law of vibrations. That everything vibrates with its own sort of universe, but the vibration per stock or commodity is different. And he uses time versus price. But obviously, trading days is not 100% representation of time, so calendar days is 365, so it can represent time. Weekly and monthly doesn't change because there's always 52 weeks in the year and always 12 weeks in a year. It doesn't really matter if it's 3 or 4 days a week. It still works out to be 52 weeks or 12 months a year. There we go. Yeah, I kind of like my trading days better. Alright, so that's how we do it. Let's have a quick check here. What's it do? Yeah, I'll stick with trading days. So that's the Gann angle set up for Johnson & Johnson. Let's have a look at more of a popular stock. Let's go to Facebook. This is a little bit harder because the data set is smaller. Okay, here's our Facebook. So once again, I start with trying to get my square sorted out. Start with 850 again. Copy 850. Get rid of my grid. I like to choose high, low, close. It's just a personal preference. We'll put in 1,000 bars. Even though I know there's not 1,000 bars, there's only 600 and so. But we'll just do that anyway. Rebuild. Whoa. So here's Facebook. So I go to my chart scale of manual. I stick by one, I get 355. I might change that to 15, I suppose, and I might change that to 55, 400. Let's have a build of that. Okay. This is actually a one-to-one chart. So, but it's pretty tight. Screen. I'm going to turn this square into a rectangle again. Once again, I go to my width and height. I actually have a perfect square of 850 by 850 on the X and Y scale here, the width and height, 850 by 850. Just once again, I'll show you the chart size calculator. It brings up my measurements into the chart size calculator, 850 by 850, chart width 850, chart height 850, period and y-axis count, so you can sort of see it yourself. I roll down to here. I have my square, so yes, we have a square. So I'm going to turn it into 1,000. Add to width and make that a 500. That makes it a rectangle. It means we've got two squares. Hit my Gann by one again. Drop to 80, but we can, because it's modeled with 10, we put another 0 in. That's okay. We'll just put the full 700 data points in something. See what happens. I got a 1 by 10, so we want a price adjustment. Scale that to keep it tidy. Okay. This is a bit more of a challenge to do a Gann angle chart because the data size is less, and we've also got a very wide range from 18 to 50 in a very quick time. So what have we got here? This is our Gann angle chart. We're going to use the trading days as the kick-off. I go to my chart size calculator. Once again. Yep, there you go. So I have my two squares. That makes up a rectangle. That's because I changed the chart from 1,000 to by 1,000 width and 500 in height. You can obviously manipulate the chart for newbies who get a bit confused or want to learn how to scale your chart to one by one. You can change the measurements in here to work things out. What we got here? So there's the first data point. What a ride for Facebook, eh? Crikey. Okay, there we go. So things started getting really bullish when the one by one was broken and started moving up, and it channeled along this line. So we would have gone. I'm fishing here. These are these Gann Angles from Quick Draw Guided. We're just fishing. So as you can see, I'll just get rid of the other ones. I double click to clear the chart. So here's the low of the time. We've got pretty much this Gann Angle hugged it for a bit, broke down and smashed down to the 1 by 4. The blue line's 1 by 2, the green line's 1 by 4. So that's where it worked there. Okay, so we've got this blast off here. Find the previous. Oh, my computer's freezing up. Alright. Okay. Just select the last pivot here for the launch. And as you can see, this is the green line, the 1 by 4. Price is screaming up at 4 units of price to 1 unit at a time. I mean, a lot of people are doing very well on option trades. I mean, if you really want to buy options, buying options in the 1 by 4 sort of speed scale is a good idea. So obviously, when it breaks this 1 by 4 line, it's going to show weakness. The other thing we can do, we can select pivots from previous high points. And we see we had trouble obviously at the 36 level, which is obviously hit previous high point. Had trouble there at 46 with the green line hit. So I suspect the next trouble is going to be around 54. This was the critical start point. And you do that as well. See, trouble. Obviously, the fast drawing Gann angles can be saved as solid objects on the chart by using our object saving settings. So we're going to have a quick look at calendar days. My suspicion is that trading days is just going to be just fine. We'll have a look at calendar days. Okay. Yeah, I think I'd stick with trading days in this one. Yep, stick with trading days. Like I said before, the law of vibration, every stock has its own vibration. Sometimes calendar days work, sometimes trading days work. You just have to see what fits best. What I mean by work is that you actually see some price relationship between the Gann angle and price action. You know, it's actually following it. It's like a support and resistance line. And one thing I like to state to new folks out there watching this video is that it's probably the first time we've actually seen Gann angles at work. Well, the thing about Gann angles which are brilliant, is you only need 1 point. You're not drawing channels, you're not drawing pivot forks, you're not drawing trend lines. You put it in there and price is moving relative to time. Now, I haven't drawn a trend line from that point to this point. Its price has reacted along the way because it's speed relative to time. And obviously, like anything, and if you understand physics, if speed slows down, you get a reaction. It goes sideways. If you start a car and run down a motorway or a highway and it slows down, you know, the speed falls off. That's what happens with the price. It's a map. That's the momentum. Yes, Gann angles are a brilliant momentum tool. Obviously, if you're an aggressive trader trading the 1 by 2, for example, above the blue line, above the green line, is your best zone to play in. Okay, that's the quick refresher course for Gann angles. Thanks for watching.